Ah, yeah, here we go again. A while ago I built this super deep fossorial enclosure, and the idea is to test out how deep fossorial tarantula will dig, and in the same time to record that process in a greater detail, you know. I built this enclosure for cyriopagopus lividus, and the digging part, I mean, the result was kind of mediocre. I mean, the tarantula did dig, but the footage wasn't really that well, and also she dug a hole here in front which kind of made the enclosure hard to use, because every time I would open the door I would ruin her entrance to her hide, you know. So I wasn't really happy with this enclosure, and as you know I also have another heavy burrower which is cyriopagopus minax, and I wanted to build an enclosure like this for her, but I didn't really want to build another enclosure. So when a friend of mine told me that he's looking for a cyriopagopus lividus, I was like, wait a minute, I will give you mine, and then I can use this enclosure for my minax. So that is exactly what happened, and that is exactly what we will do in this video. But whenever I try to record a time-lapse of tarantula digging or webbing, I always have trouble because they don't really want to do it while they're exposed to light. No matter how weak that light is, it is always hard to get them to start digging and to actually continue digging and webbing. And whenever I would whine about it in my videos, there would always be a bunch of comments saying that apparently tarantulas cannot really see red light. So therefore, if you get a red light, a red lamp, and shine the enclosure with that, tarantula will think that it is darkness, so it will do its business, but there should be enough light for camera to record. So I finally got myself a color reflector. I mean, a red light, which is actually, it can be red, but it can also be any color I want, but I need it for red, so yeah, this is why in this video I'm expecting a bit different result. I'm finally hoping that we'll have a successful creation of tarantula burrow / hide in a video. Yeah, I'm hoping so much. So before we start with that, just a friendly reminder that if you need smaller acrylic enclosures that are stackable, you can get them on the Dug Den web shop, only available for European orders, and for US and Canada audience I have these that I made in collaboration with Tarantula Cribs, so they are available on their webshop. Check them out. Now let's set up some enclosure. Not just some enclosure, the ultimate fossorial enclosure. Starting with a little bit of clay balls. You know that in minax enclosure I had problems with humidity. I mean, since I had live plants, I had to water the enclosure, of course, and then that water would pool on the substrate, on the bottom of the substrate, and couldn't really go out, resulting in a really soggy substrate. And adding this large amount of substrate is a challenge on its own, so I have some in this bucket, but that of course won't be enough, and I had to make a new batch. I was actually thinking of packing and selling this mixture of substrate that I use, because I see questions all the time asking what mixture do I use and where to get that mixture. The mixture was never a secret, and it is just cocoa fiber, peat moss and organic potting soil, but I can understand that if you only have few enclosures, it can be expensive to buy all the ingredients just for few enclosures. You can't really buy them in low quantities. So bagging and selling a finished mixture would actually make a lot of sense. Although shipping could be a problem because of the weight and volume. But yeah, one of many things that I need to look into. This now seems like there is enough substrate, but I need to compress it. So let's see how much substrate I will need to add. I'm not compressing it super tightly, but yeah, I want tarantula to work for it. So tarantula can actually dig a burrow, look. A little bit. Honestly, less than I expected. Ta-da, here it is. And let me bring some light here in front. Look at the difference between old substrate and fresh substrate. This one is much drier, and you can tell. Now check the slope. Pretty decent, right? And of course we are going to do a starter burrow and pray that tarantula actually use it and not just randomly dig. I want that starter burrow right here, so that is an actual burrow and not just in the corner, you know. You see a proper burrow, but I angled it towards the glass, so soon tarantula should hit the glass somewhere here, and then we should be able to see the progress on the side. I also figured out how I will hopefully prevent her from digging the corners up. I will block them with rocks and another rock here in the corner, because I don't want holes in these corners. If she decides to dig somewhere over there, I don't care. I just don't want them here in the corners of on the front side. So yeah, I won't be adding any plants or details now, because I want to see what tarantula will do, how she will start with the burrow, and then once she digs it or just partially digs it, I will add the plant. Which means that the enclosure is ready and we need to get the tarantula out of this and into this. Just like I did it the first time, I want to put the enclosure on this chair so it will be easier to manage, although it is super heavy now. Just the enclosure on its own is heavy because of all the glass. But with the substrate, there we go. And I can also, where's the handle? Here it is. I can also lower it. Yes, this will work out. I'm not looking forward getting the minax out because she is not afraid to show her attitude. I can actually get this door out because I will replace everything anyway. As you know, these are 3D printed parts and I'm replacing them with new parts. You see these parts, and yeah, these are all old enclosures that had 3D printed parts, but now they got a new dark denim enclosure plastic parts. Pretty sweet. I think that first I'll just grab a bunch of substrate and get it out of the way. Oh, I didn't realize that I had a piece of corkbark inside. Should I put this in her new enclosure so the enclosure will be familiar? Yeah, that is definitely what I should do. I didn't even realize that her enclosure got a corkbark. Interesting, I did build it in a while, so no wonder I forgot. I'll also use her old web here. I have no idea if they can recognize their old web, but it doesn't hurt to try, to increase our chance of getting a tunnel where we want it. Continuing with getting the dirt out. It is fairly dry in here, at least on the surface. I can see that the bottom area got more humidity, you see? All of this is humid substrate. Also, one thing that I often see in my videos whenever I have some problems with a tarantula or something, people love to say that my enclosures are dry, which actually shows that they don't have a lot of experience with tarantulas and tarantula enclosures, because if you have a well-ventilated enclosure, the top layer of substrate will always dry in between watering, because I water my enclosures once a week. I mean, I miss them once a week. So the top layer and a portion of top layer will dry out, so that is the normal thing, but the bottom layer retains moisture longer, and tarantulas will usually have a burrow on the bottom, so yeah, in more moist substrate. Of course, I'm talking about brachypelmas, aphonopelmas, grammostolas that don't really need a lot of humidity. Some species require more humidity in the substrate, and usually in those enclosures I have live plants, so I wet them more. Hello, hello. Nice legs you got there. Can I get you to come out? Oh, look at this beauty. Yeah, and she is kinda mad, not too much. You see, even if they are mad, tarantula will almost always prefer to retreat in her hide. That is why if they don't have a proper hide, they will be pissed all the time. Species like these, brachypelmas, grammostolas, stiltocatls, not so much. They will usually be more passive if they don't have a proper hide. Okay, this was relatively easy. Now I just bring her like this into her new enclosure. Yes, there we go. Hello, hello, beauty. I mean, she's not as beautiful as cyriopagopus lividus, but she got her own charm, which is mostly in that striped abdomen. You're dirty, you got a lot of substrate on you. Now, the idea is you go over there and you make a deep burrow. Can we have a deal? Let's shake on it. Yes, with right hand. Shake, shake, shake. Yeah, as I said, I will add the plants and other details in the enclosure after she starts making a burrow. So therefore, hopefully, you will now see a cool time lapse, although I hope that she won't be super fast with digging and that she will only dig up to here tonight, because I need to change the angle of the camera as she digs down. So yeah, a time lapse. As expected, she strolled around the enclosure, but she quickly found her future hide. She almost immediately started digging, but only for a bit, as she resumed her exploration of her new enclosure. She did that until lights turned on. As you can see, that jungularium lights turned on in the back. It seems that prompted her to wrap up her hide, which was a great sign. It means that she will use the pre-made burrow, and I wonder if her old web helped with that. Regardless, when she was done, the mandatory cleaning and grooming began. Yeah, tarantulas from time to time like to clean like this. It takes a while as they go through all 8 of their legs. Once the light turned off, she was off wandering around again, and no digging at all, which made me a bit nervous. Another day came and she decided to close off her hide. You cannot really see it on the video, but the entire entrance was covered with web, which she destroyed the very next day when she emerged outside. Another cleaning session followed by a quick stroll, and just when I started to worry that she wouldn't dig at all, the excavation started. But it didn't last long. She just pulled one clump of substrate out, and that seemed to be it. She went back to wander around, but she went back to it, the digging, although a bit indecisive as she spent a lot of time roaming around as if she was not sure if that was the right spot for her. Or maybe she was just webbing the perimeter. I have no idea. There is a lot of fine layers of web everywhere, but that was basically it. Of course, why would something go my way when I'm recording a time-lapse? Never, it never happens. As if my tarantulas are intentionally messing with me. You see, this is the setup, the red light, and yeah, everything should work, but nope. Let me just bring in a regular light. A regular light, I cannot even talk. That is how frustrated I am. It is Sunday, so I don't really have time to continue this experiment, but since the video needs to come out tomorrow, I'm going to do one night without any light, and then the next day we are going to see if that will make any difference or if I just have a lazy tarantula. But her abdomen is pretty fat, so I'm wondering maybe, just maybe, she's in a pre-molt, so that is the reason why she's not able to dig significantly. Or just my tarantulas really love to troll me. At least first let's check out the progress. I mean progress, because this is not really a progress. That was my notification, not yours. Anyhow, look at all the webbing that she did around the burrow. At least she is actually using the burrow, so that is something. Yeah, and where are you going? If you dug a deeper hide now you could hide, but you didn't, and I can see you really good. Just my luck. But before we do a time jump, I'm going to add plant inside. I'll just grab it from the junglarium. You see this plant. Look, it is everywhere. Basically the entire enclosure is covered with this plant, and also this plant is spreading like crazy. Yeah, I should do some trimming here, but since I will build a new junglarium, I'm not really motivated to do some real maintenance in here. The plant, oh, I'll just take it from the other side actually. And the frogs are thinking that it is dinner time. You guys already ate, please. Boop. This is the stuff that we need. So I'll just pull a random portion of... Yeah, that should be good. When you are watering it enough, this plant grows like weed. So it is ideal for enclosures in which we want to have a lot of humidity. I'm gonna give it a good spray, and that should be it. Unless she destroys it, this is the result that I expect. Just look at this enclosure. You see? This is that magnificent plant. Oh yeah. Anyhow, let's do that time jump, and of course, why am I not surprised? Of course that I have tarantulas that are just trolling me. You see, this is the work that she did in just one night. The tunnel is over here, so she dug all of this, and this, and this, and this in just one night. So is it a coincidence that this happened, that she started digging once I turned off the light, even though it was a red light? I don't think so. I definitely need to do this experiment a couple more times, but by the looks of it, red light doesn't really help. Thankfully, when I came here in the morning, she was digging, so I got a little bit of time lapse. I even set up another camera above, so we also have a top view of her excavating and taking all the dirt outside. But of course it's not a great time lapse because you cannot see how she is digging the back of the enclosure. So yeah, I'm going to end the video now, but I will set this enclosure on the side, and hopefully I will be able to record the continuation of the digging, of the excavation, if now she's going to continue her excavation project. Maybe I just need to turn off the light so she starts digging, and then she would dig even with light, but I don't know, because the time lapse that I recorded now, it was with this light, not with red light, but with a regular light, so she just didn't want to start when the light was on. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel more, there's a Patreon page and a webshop page. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I upload on Monday and sometimes a live stream on Sunday. So see you again really soon. Bye.